Namaste. Welcome to Shintosai, Shinto's yoga experience with Shinto self-empowerment. This is just going to be a quick, semi-quick, we're not very good at being quick, recognition and acknowledgement, appreciation and gratitude. Don't know, the ceremony, ritual, just thing for Pamela Colman Smith. She died today, September the 18th in 1951 at age 73. So we're going to just read out what's on this card shortly. And we've got 5 packs of Rider-Waite tarot. We've got the teeny tiny tarot, the mini tarot, and then we've got a tin radiant tarot. We've got the universal tarot, and then we've got the giant. So yeah, there's quite a difference in size. We're just going to first smudge with some Palo Santo. So this is like a generational or an ancestry trauma releasing. So the more trauma releasing procedures, ceremonies, things that people do, the more that has an effect on the collective consciousness of humanity, and helps shift the trauma in the collective consciousness, therefore raising the collective consciousness. Hence the importance of delving inwards to the depths of one's own psyche and really having self-understanding. And if one is hypersensitive, an empath, sensitive to the energies, it's really important for us as individuals to understand who we are and what's our own shit, so that we know what triggers us and what doesn't. What our denials are, what our projections are, so that when we come across other people, we can discern and decipher what's their projections and their denials. And we find that when people get defensive and justify, that's a big one, which we've then reflected as a mirror and put onto ourselves. And tarot's been, along with oracle cards and a lot of other tools, have been a massive help to us gaining insight to our inner world, especially when our internal world processing model is deaf, blind and dumb. And we've got the different sizes of the tarot decks because we work on fractal geometry, and there's 5 of them. And today, when we did the singing bowl at the start, we invited in the numerological energies of 5. 5 is the number of change, which brings freedom. And so today is the 18th, which adds up to 9. Of the 9th, they add up to 18, which add up to 9. And then 5 for the end year. 9 plus 5 is 14, which is the Temperance card, which is all about alchemizing and balance. Sagittarius energies, higher learning, adventure, optimism. And so 5 is the number of change, which brings freedom. So we're just going to light the Palo Santo, because Palo Santo is a special, clears the energies, and this is all scientifically proven. It changes the ions in the atmosphere, but it also is particular for trauma frequency releasing. So there's been so it's taken us a long time to accept, but we have a natural gift of just clearing out energies for people that have passed over, or tribes. I know we were told one time that we were shifting energies and clearing stuff for the Maoris grieving for their lost homeland. I know we've done it for our mum, other people we know that have died. And then there was a scenario on one of our YouTube channels on our lives where our mum's picture fell down. She passed over when we were 4. And suddenly this picture hasn't been opened or changed frames since 1984. So you're talking 36, 37 years. And we opened up the back of it, and there's this card in the back, this card of this ship. I think it was called the Mary Rose, and so we googled it and then just did a whole little ceremony for the people on the ship, because it kind of went down. So there would have been a lot of souls that passed over that weren't resting in peace. We don't even really have the words for it, because this is all very new to us. We've been told lots about our psychic gifts and all kinds of things, but we have a processing language disorder, and words and getting things out of our head. We also have DID. If you follow our YouTube channels or have been following us, this is a live documentary healing process type thing. And we were very nervous. We haven't been on here for ages, and so we were very anxious and nervous about coming back on here and starting the process off again. And we did attempt to do it the other day, but it didn't work. And I think that's because it was live on here, so I don't understand why it would have affected it, but it seems to be working now. We had too many photos and videos on our phone, so there wasn't enough room. So we've transferred all them over, and hopefully then we'll start our daily meditative poetry reading again as well, which is one of our fun tools for the shadow dance of life. The dark night of the soul, which we've heard more appropriately called the dark night of the ego, but the many dark nights of the ego, and we call it the fun shadow dance of life. So thank you, Palo Santo. And then we've got a eucalyptus leaf, and we'll burn that at the end for balancing out the energies. And we're just going to light some sage now as well. We had said that we will do this on a video and upload it, because we're very anxious, but we seem to be managing it okay. But if you do get a lot of people call it light language, but we've got our stunted generational consciousness from the traumas that happened at an early age, one of them being our mum's suicide. And so we've been growing up that stunted generational consciousness, which is why we haven't been on here for ages. And we've been learning to grow food. We were a season late, but we don't buy any vegetables anymore or salad. The only thing we buy is fruit. That's been for about at least 4 weeks, if not 6. Thank you, Sage. So we've been eating that and really been focusing on our gut health, our gut biome, because we are more of a bacterial body than we are a cellular body. And for us, the DID, dissociative identity disorder, is the new terminology for multiple personalities, but it's in the body as well. And it's about how our body speaks to us. Our body is nature, and everything is consciousness, but then there's the individual expressions of consciousness, whether that's a rock, metal, crystal, plant, tree, animal, cell, bacteria, human. So if one's body isn't aligned and functioning properly in the gut biome, the bacterial community of systems, that is the information that travels through the electrochemical energy up through the circulatory system to the brain, and then gives the information to the brain to alchemize it, transform that energy into electromagnetic energy, to then go through the nervous system and tell the body what to do. So we also have fibromyalgia and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. We're autistic. So diet's been hugely important. So yeah, it's been a long journey. It's been just over February, March, April, May, June, July, August. It's been 1 year and 7 months today that we got out of the psych ward. We were in there for 2 weeks because the system didn't understand us. We had a vagus dorsal collapse, but we needed help. But it's complicated, so we're not going to get into it. But anyway, we went in there. It's a whole pile of things to do with medication, and we got out within 2 weeks. So we're doing exceptionally well. We've got the house almost up to a level of standard, so hence why it's late coming on doing this, because we've been prioritising our needs, our self-care, our food, and like getting food shops done and stuff. So it's really good that we've done the talking. We do tend to talk a lot. They talk no more. Yes, thank you, my lovelies. I don't know what they're saying because we're too anxious to be able to have the awareness split awareness to understand them. And we don't always understand them, but sometimes we do. So Pamela Colman Smith, we feel very connected to, and we said we were going to do this when it's so hard, challenging finding the words. So her birthday was on February the 16th, and our birthday is on February the 15th. We're Zanoni Snowflake Purcell now, legally changed our name. We took our mother's maiden name. Snowflake's our Native American Indian name given to us when we were 2, and Zanoni's a name that we chose, Child of the Stars. So previously our name was Neve Deborah Colman, our birth given name. Colman with an E, but this is Pamela Colman without an E, Smith. So we've got a very similar surname. We were born a day apart, and she spent time living down in Cornwall in England, the UK, not far from where we are on the north coast. So there's a lot of synchronicities and a lot of connections. Everyone's a channel, because that's what we are, amazing quantum bioorganic computers. That's what human beings are in our terminology. And we're a tubular body. There's tubes in the bones, there's veins, there's arteries, the nervous system. It's all made of tubes. So we channel energy. There's the cosmic energy that comes down, and the Mother Gaia's earthly energy that comes up, and it meets at the fulcrum, the central point of balance at the heart. And so we believe in channeling, but we don't believe in channeling in the conventional way. And we believe more on, rather than projecting information out there, on understanding the energies and how it affects us individually. So when we read tarot for us. So when we do pull the tarot cards, of which we've meditated and shuffled, pre-shuffled, we won't give too much. We won't give too much of a description. But who knows what happens in the moment? All kinds of ones of us pop out. So we're grounding in and bringing those higher vibrational energies down into the physical body to earth them and ground them, so that we're not stuck in this reality of duality, of good and bad and right and wrong. And there's an understanding of the reality of polarity, how we need the proton and the ion. We need that electromagnetic, like magnets, the push and the pull, and that then brings us into the whole reality, holarity, which is into the wholeness, which is balance and healing. So we're going to do a bit of sounding to start with. That's what we normally do. Feel free, there might be a few ohms in there as well. Ah, or, but we tend to do it backwards as well. So, or, ah. Our Shintosai practice, so Shintos stands for Shinto self-empowerment, and Shintosai is the Shintos yoga experience. And we do a lot of mouth yoga and alignment, accessing and aligning our internal body, our organs, through the teeth, the tongue and the mouth. So yes, and we also do the sounding rather than too much talking. Our intention always has the purest of intention, and it's for our highest good, humanity's highest good, and Mother Gaia's highest good. And so when we're tapping into Pamela Colman Smith's frequencies, because she wasn't acknowledged, she wasn't appreciated, she wasn't recognised when she was alive. So we're doing all that, we're recognising her, we're being appreciative of her, and just so thankful to her. And so when we do the vocal sounding, it connects us into the source energy, and we're not putting words to it, because words can be limiting, because we could say some words, but our attachment and definition and use of those words might be different to yours, the listeners, and so there's a limitation, a boundary put up. But when we go into the primal, pure frequency and sound, then it passes through the electromagnetic fields, or as our little ones like to call it, the spiral rainbow electromagnetic fields. That's hence why we do it live, because it taps into the energies in a completely different way into yours. And then that information and data through the frequency that's going into your field will then take time to come out through experiences, through with nature or other people, through signs or messages, through TV, YouTube, music, words, signposts, anything that speaks to you, because the multiverse, the universe, speaks in symbology, metaphors, colours, numbers, pictures, patterns. So it's getting into the quantum physics. Newtonian physics is on a small spectrum of the larger spectrum of quantum physics, where there is actually order within that chaos and patterns within the chaos. One just has to zoom out into the macro big picture to then zoom in to the micro picture, so that you're seeing the big picture and the long term and the macro and the future, but you're also down to the micro of the millisecond, for example. And the unseen world is the Tesla code, the 3, the 6, the 9, the point of balance and stillness, because the only atoms are always vibrating and changing. The only constant is change. But if we get that oscillation down pretty small, so there isn't a huge jump, then we get that sense of being within the eye of the storm, where there is calmness, but there's the chaos around us. So no matter what adversity or chaos is going on around us, we have that centre within ourselves to stay calm, and can radiate that out through our rainbow spiral electromagnetic field, so that goes into other people's as well, because it's coming from the heart, and the heart has neurons like the brain in a much bigger, more expansive field than going out there. So it speaks a lot more through the frequencies and the sound than words and other things do. So I hope that makes a bit of sense. We're getting clearer with our words, hopefully, and a bit more structured. So we sound inwards as well as outwards, and with COVID and everything that's going on, it's really important to utilise all our lungs to breathe and to fill our body up with oxygen, and each cell up with oxygen, and that's how we raise our vibration, that's how we raise our consciousness. But our present day is normally filled of habitual routines, and it's normally defined by our past. Our subconscious is our programming from an early childhood. So to create our future is created from our present day actions, but if our present day actions are our habitual past actions defining us, then we have to have hindsight and reflection upon our past, so that we can then bring those subconscious patterns into our conscious awareness and choose to change them. And we do that starting by being the witness. And an example with that is Ujjayi breath. And Ujjayi 1 breath is it's a breathing technique in yoga. So yoga's got 8 limbs to it, and asanas are just one limb. It's the 3rd limb of yoga is your asana. Pranayama is your 4th limb, which is rhythmic breath control. And Ujjayi 1 breath is where you just witness and observe what's going on, first of all, with compassion, without judgment, without anything. And this is where the consciousness gets fragmented purposely, so that one can keep an awareness on the physical body, on the energetic body, on different strands of dimensions or realms. So for instance, everyone dissociates. When you drive somewhere, you're semi-automatically driving because you've been doing it for so long, but you're listening to the radio or you're looking at the scenery, and sometimes you'll get home after doing a route that you've done the same, and you won't even remember how you got home. Now that's using multiple states of consciousness and having fragmented awareness on different tasks. And people that do energy work need to keep an eye on the physical body and the physical reality of form, but they need to also be in the unseen, non-physical reality of the unseen energies. So inward sounding or through the nose, and we can make that circular, and And all of this is changing the patterning in the way that one breathes. There's so much more to it, but we're attempting to stay focused. So we'll start with some sounding. We'll do some ohms. Please feel free to join in. Shaking, shushing, buzzing, humming. All of these are ways of releasing trauma. Trauma is physical trauma, emotional trauma, mental trauma, sexual trauma, energetic trauma, generational trauma, and all of that resides in the connective tissue, the fascia. And so we have to create, and then it causes tension and knots. So we have to create slack in the fascia by movement, and shaking is the oldest and newest form of medicine. And when one is breathing, but especially when one is sounding, you're causing vibrations. So if you think of a guitar string or ukulele, that is vibrating down the string to make a sound, and that's what's happening in your vocal cords right down to your stomach. And your stomach is a mirror reflection but expansion of your Adam's apple and your vocal cords. And if you want to get into some more massage and other interconnections, then nerve touch Thai massage is a technique where you pluck the tendons to cause that vibration to release the tension in the body and create slack as well. So feel free to join in how your body, how your heart, how your breath is guiding you to do it. We might just do a bit of breathing to start with because we've done a lot of talking. So just shaking, sighing it all out. You may feel wish to close your eyes. Closing your eyes brings you into your internal world. Opening your eyes brings you into the external world. Welcome in the Mars energies, please. Not very good on the left hand. So Pamela Colman Smith. And so where some people say they channel people, our belief systems are different. And we believe that everyone has their individual expression of consciousness and they channel the frequencies of those entities, but the sound and those frequencies that come in pass through the processing system of the individual, and so therefore it has the individual's own interpretation and take on it, whether it's conscious or subconscious, majority of the time subconscious. So we're tapping into Pamela Colman Smith's frequencies, but what comes out is an expression of the consciousness of this most amazing quantum bioorganic computer. And the words that are used are only the words that, for instance, are in the that we've heard over the life that are in the subconscious. The subconscious stores everything. Pamela Colman Smith was born February the 16th, 1878, in Middlesex, England, of American parents. Her childhood years were spent between London, New York, and Kingston, Jamaica. During her teens, she travelled throughout England with the theatre company of Ellen Terry and Henry Irving. Thereafter, she took up formal art training at the Pratt Institute of Brooklyn, New York, graduating in 1897. Although American by birth, she returned to England where she became a theatrical designer for miniature theatre and an illustrator, mainly of books, pamphlets and posters. She excelled in reciting folk tales and stories drawn from her experiences in Jamaica. Her circle of friends included William Butler Yeats and his brother, Jack Yeats, plus other notable theatrical and literary personalities of the day. Around 1903, she joined the Order of the Golden Dawn and began to paint visions that came to her while listening to music, such as Beethoven, Bach, Chopin and Debussy. She turned to writing and illustrating books which realised only minor success. Events turned in her favour in 1907, when Alfred Stieglitz selected her art as the first non-photographic work to be shown at the Little Galleries of the Photo Succession, later called 291, on Madison Avenue, New York. She received praise from critics, and 33 of her drawings sold. But by the end of the year, her financial situation worsened. In 1909, under the guidance of Arthur Edward Waite, she undertook for token payment a series of 78 allegorical paintings described by Waite as a rectified tarot pack. And we love it because today is the 18th, which adds up to 9, so it's the midpoint of the 9-9 portal. The 9-9 portal opening on the 9th of September and ending on the 27th of September. And 1909, you've got the 9-9 in there as well. The designs, published in the same year by William Ryder and Son, exemplify the mysticism, ritual, imagination, fantasy, and deep emotions of the artist. Despite occasional art shows and favourable reviews by critics, the continued slow sales of her works and rejections by commercial publishers left her deeply disappointed and disillusioned. She wrote and published a poem, Alone, which provides insight to her isolation and despair. Alone. Alone and in the midst of men. Alone mid hills and valleys fair. Alone upon a ship at sea. Alone, alone, and everywhere. Oh, many folks I see and know, so kind they are I scarce can tell. But now alone, on land and sea, in spite of all I'm left to dwell. In cities large, in country lane, around the world, 'tis all the same. Across the sea from shore to shore, alone, alone, for evermore. After World War I, she received a small inheritance and leased a house on the English coast in the artist colony called the Lizard. She continued her attempts to write and illustrate books, although most of her works failed to reach publication. Suffering from physical and financial decline, she moved during World War II to Bude, Cornwall. So the Lizard is pretty much down on the south coast of Cornwall, the southwest of the UK. Land's End is the most southwesterly peninsula, and then Bude's up on the north coast of Cornwall. And we're on the north coast of Cornwall, but kind of in between the two. Despite continued output of stories and illustrations, she failed to realise any commercial success. She never married. She had no known heirs except for an elderly female companion who shared her flat. She died on September the 18th, 1951, at the age of 73, penniless and obscure. There was no funeral procession to honour her life. There was no memorial service to touch upon the impact her work would one day have upon her admirers. No obituary about her appeared in any local newspapers. Her gravesite, if one exists, remains unknown. She died, disappointed that her paintings and writings failed to achieve financial success, yet she never stopped believing in herself. All of her personal possessions were sold at auction. Books, manuscripts, paintings, drawings, furniture, even her personal letters, to satisfy her debts. Thus, despite her last wishes, her companion and heir was deprived of any inheritance, and everything went to strangers. Except for a few exhibitions during her early career that had moderate success, much of her work has disappeared. Pamela Colman Smith, shiver me tingles. Pamela Colman Smith would be all but forgotten except for the 78 tarot paintings known as the Rider-Waite. The Rider-Waite tarot deck. More than 6 million decks are in print. She would no doubt be astonished and gladdened to know that today the deck touches the hearts and emotions of millions of people, and a fabulous tool for self-growth, self-development, self-awareness, accessing one's inner world and reality. So we're going to start with the middle pack, which is the Radiant. They're all pre-shuffled. They've just received the energies of our reading and connecting in. So please, Pamela, the frequencies, is there, oh, there we go. So how we work is there's always a spectrum. So there's the card that's given, but we then do the top of the pack and the bottom of the pack, and the top of the pack and the bottom, they're the spectrum with what these energies are in. The top of the pack being the conscious, the aware, the seen spectrum of energies, like a seesaw. A seesaw, you've got one end, you've got the other end, and then you've got the fulcrum in the middle. And then the bottom's the subconscious, the unaware, unseen spectrum of energies. So the aware spectrum of energies that we're dancing within at the moment. Oh, look at that. Perfect. The moon card actually rules Pisces as well. And it's the Pisces full moon on the 20th or 21st, depending where you are in the world. And as I'm doing this, we're feeling a release in our thigh. Our left thigh there, which is fabulous. So that's the conscious, aware, seen spectrum of energies. So Pisces is the 12th house. It's the illusions. It's ruled by Neptune. Pisces rules the feet. For us, Pisces is the mind, because Mercury is communication and the mind, and our Mercury is Pisces in the 7th house. I love it. And the moon card is the Pisces cards astrologically, but the card that represents the moon as a planet is the High Priestess, and the High Priestess is the subconscious spectrum of energies that we're dancing within. So it's up to you to interpret what these mean for you, because everything's different. The conscious number, oh yeah, number 18, which is today, so you can see this, we're getting this it's really hard to manage the DID. It's something that we're still dancing with, and there is a freedom of expression. So when there is a lot of excitement and a lot of energy, that's what happens. We don't really have much say in it. Just trying to adjust the camera. So yeah, it's the 18th, conscious, aware, moon, and then number 2. What colours stand out for you? What pictures? What animals? What symbols? What numbers? And rather than doing the collective and the typical understanding of what these are, what do they mean for you? So for instance, red could mean love and passion, or it could mean anger and rage and danger. Or there might have been a specific memory to you where something happened with the colour red, and so it connects into something completely different. We won't do that depth for all of them. We'll hold them up. And if you want to pause the video, you can pause the video to get into it a bit longer. And we won't. And you just talk them through for yourself. For us, that's just giving us validation and confirmation of what people call psychic ability and channeling gifts, and having this strong connection to the subtle energetic body and the unseen world of quantum physics. And the card that was given is the Page of Pentacles. So for us, the Page of Pentacles is saying that we've finally been able to to navigate our way through and map the territory of one layer of the depths of our subconscious psyche. That has been an ongoing process since our seizures 5 years ago and kept us housebound. And the page is all about learning, but for us it's about learning. The aces are more of a very fresh and new learning, like a baby, whereas the page is more of a teenage learning. So a baby is still dependent on others around them, whereas when one becomes a teenager, they're starting to find their own identity and who they are. And the Pentacles is earth. So we are really managing to bring those higher vibration frequencies down into the physical realm, and embed them. So that's the balancing pivot that we're on. Now, for us and our understanding, from our experiences and observing and witnessing ourselves for the past 5 years, almost 5 years, it'll be 5 years end of October, it's better to start at the heart, so there's a complete unconditional love, compassion, non-judgment, balance to begin with, then to go down to anchor to the root chakra, to the earth star, to earth's core, lava, to anchor ourselves in, so that those the energetic threads in us can tie themselves into earth, so that then when we go up and reach the higher vibrational frequencies, we don't fly off with the fairies and go cuckoo. So we are then going to go down to the micro, which is the teeny tiny tarot. And we know we watched a tarot person and she says that she uses the teeny tiny tarot, but she actually uses this one, not this one. But the teeny tiny tarot does have a much better ring to it. So we're just going to kind of shuffle these. Exceptionally hard to shuffle. I know the younger ones just want to do more like 52 card pickup or 78 card pickup. Spread them all out on the table like a memory game, and then just like pick one. So I think we might just pick one, or they might end up going everywhere. Or will you give us one? Will you be able to give us one in this teeny tiny tarot deck? Or, because if we put them on the floor or on the table and pick one, there's not really a top and bottom. So we'll do one more little shuffle, and then we're just going to pick a card. So here's the card given, and we'll start with the subconscious unaware spectrum of energies that we're dancing within, and it's Cancer energies. But they're not focusing very well. Yeah, so is there any colours? It's blurred, but are there any colours or symbols? It's the Chariot and it's number 7. We said we weren't going to say that over time. And then the top one is the Knight of Swords. And the card that was given is the Wands, the 3 of Wands. So for us, red and green is very symbolic. And he's looking out. So on the very micro level of the fractal geometry, we have the 3 of Wands, which is a very small picture. It's still not clear. We are about to go on, rather than on a semi-forced deep dive of the subconscious, we are going on a conscious deep dive of the subconscious. So we are still searching personally, or not searching, we're still navigating more layers of the onion skin of this most amazing quantum bioorganic computer, which is like this. If you've ever seen the spider webs, those multi-dimensional spider webs, when it's like early in the morning, there's lots of mist, and they're just kind of, that's what the connective tissue and the fascia is like. And we're about to do a much more of a less screen time, now that we've discovered a new right brain routine system about bringing that more into it. So for us, that really makes sense. Now, just to bring the energies in, we're then going to go up to the macro. So you've got a big oscillation, and then we're ending with a smaller oscillation. So we're going from the micro, teeny tiny, up to the giant Rider-Waite. So what are you saying here? And this is very good for our dexterity, for our muscles in our hands, our peripheral nervous system. Strengthening the peripheral nervous system, the limbs of action, balances out the central nervous system, which is the emotional house. So there's a coiled up spiral of energy residing in one's sacrum, and when that has releases, which is commonly known as Kundalini rising, it sends energy up through the spine. So with our EDS, we're hypermobile. So like the riverbanks, our bones, our structure, our ligaments don't hold the pathway for the energy to travel down it. And that's why we do all the twitching and everything that's going on. and hence all of this is the realigning. So we might have to take a card, because, will you give us one, please? Yeah, we're going to take one, because we said quick at the start and it so isn't quick. I don't even want to really look at that. So we started on the subconscious last time, so we're going to start on the subconscious again. Hi, no. Yeah, we like that. So it's number 17 and it's the star. We love it because we are a double star. Our sun, our external body, is a star. So it's Aquarius, Pisces cusp, actually 26 degrees, which 26 also equals 8, 17 equals 8, and our birth given name, Neve Deborah Colman, is the numerological vibration of 8. Our moon is 17 degrees Aquarius, which is the star, and Zanoni is the child of the stars. And the reason we got put in the psych ward was because we had regressed into like our 2-year-old or something, and we were naked, and so that's why we got put in the psych ward, when there's a much bigger story to it. And the conscious top of the pack is the Ace of Wands. So for us, that's again, like we said with the page being the teenager one, there's a real, and we were just talking about being the 2-year-old, a very young child, pure. So we always said that our stunted generational consciousness, our ego, got stunted at 4. So rather than turning into the adult of power and greed ego, our ego has always been about empowerment and play. And so this is the creative fire, the spark, the inspiration. And so for us, that's us reaching a new karmic completion into a very fresh, pure, innocent, authentic, very unconventional, so it'll receive probably a lot of judgment, which is also why there's been a lot of conflict and resistance in us, to stand strong in our truth, even though our truth is very out there and different. And so the card that is given is the 7 of Swords. Now, this is the card where a lot of people say of deceit and being sneaky, but for us, we look at the swords that are left. So we're the 2 swords that are left. So someone's going off with the 5 swords, but we're the 2 swords left standing, anchored, strong and secure in the ground. And 7 is the number of personal growth, self-development, and swords is the mind. And again, it's the 2 swords left, and we were just saying about being 2 when we kind of, the age that we were in our brain networks and body networks before going into psych ward. And 2 is the age that we were when we were given our snowflake name by the Native American Indians. So now we're going to go down to the pack just below that, the Radiant Tarot. Radiant Rider-Waite. We used to have to say the rugged man ran round the rugged rock because we got our R's and W's confused. So that was a bit of a tongue twister there. The Radiant Rider-Waite. We've been given 4, the number of Mother Earth. So the top of the pack, because we've done the subconscious twice now, so we're going on to the conscious, is the Tower. This kept showing itself for us earlier. So the Tower, this is a very, because we're going on a conscious deep dive of the psyche soon. We're still in the preparation stages of the house and other stuff to prepare ourselves for it, because there's a lot of trauma releasing and it can take one into very complicated, energetic, altered states of consciousness. So rather than being semi-forced upon you by the multiverse or perceived external situations like the psych ward for us, we're choosing a tower moment to finish off the internal alignment of this body so that we can fully align ourselves from the inside out, and the outer body can then get its structure. And the subconscious, we've got the sun underneath it, perfect, but the bottom card of the subconscious unaware is the 7 of Pentacles. So 7 is a very strong theme. He's taking a rest and there's still, he's had a bit of a harvest, a small harvest, but the rest is still growing. So he'll be harvesting the rest when it's ready, and he's taking time out to regenerate, recharge, nurture, do his gut biome, self-care in his immediate environment and house and garden. So this is the first two limbs of yoga, which the first limb is your yamas, your external moral conduct, and your second limb is your niyamas, your internal moral conduct. Then you have your asanas, your postures, and then it goes on to your pranayama, rhythmic breath control, etc., etc. So the first card given, you're seeing it at the same time, I've got them upside down here, is Judgment, number 20. Two vibrations being really important for us at the moment, and this is saying that we've managed to become compassionate to ourselves and letting down those belief systems that were programmed into us, and to be gentle. And even though we get embarrassed about showing our unique authentic self with that, which still holds a lot of deep emotion and embarrassment, but hence the more we need to do this to practice being seen and heard, and not caring what others' opinions and judgments and assumptions are, because we know who we are, we know how special we are, and we know what we're capable of, even though we've talked ourselves down for years. So that's a really good card. We like that one, of compassion. And 99 is the number of compassion, equaling 18, which is a mirror of leadership. 81 is the number of leadership. So we see 81 as external leadership, whereas 18 is internal leadership. So one has chosen self-mastery and is becoming the master of oneself, because they're getting to know themselves so intricately. The second card given is the Four of Pentacles, which we've heard people say it's about holding on to money, but for us, 4 is the number of Mother Gaia, 4 is the number of structure, foundation, perseverance. So it's a really strong, healthy, aligned, balanced foundations, so that one can then build on top of it. Because if your root and your grounding isn't strong foundations that is aligned, everything that then is on top of it is going to be misaligned. And the next card given, oh look, another 4, we love it. So it's perfect. 20 is 2, which is the number of patience, balance and choices, which you need that with 4, perseverance. 44 is the number of environment, and we relate that to epigenetics, Bruce Lipton. So epigenetics is above genes. We aren't victims of our genes. We don't have to be in that victim consciousness. We're above our genes. It's about nurturing. So if we didn't have a healthy parenting and a healthy upbringing, then we learn how to be our own healthy mum, our own healthy father, so that then we can break those habitual family patterns and not pass our shit onto our kids accidentally or subconsciously. And that's the main reason that we're doing that. So he's sitting down, so we're there and we're sitting and we're still pondering. There's been a cup offered, but we're not sure if we're ready to take it or not yet. We've still got more meditation to do, but time's not linear. Time's an abstract concept. So it's only when we feel grounded and ready that we can then reach for that cup of emotions. Because if we go into our emotions too quick, too soon, that's when we could get, the conscious eyes could get locked out again. And that's what medication does to us as well, which is why we're not ever taking any medication again. It was kind of forced upon us last time. And the last card, what's number that? 9 of Cups. So reach 9's the number in the 9 vibration, the 9-9 portal. It's the number of completion in the physical reality. That's our interpretation. So the 9 of Cups is we have completed one round of. So what does it say for you? How are you picking that card for you? You might be on similar vibrations to us. But we are rating to receive that Ace of Cups, the single cup on its own, which has come up for us. We've done like 3 journals today with the cards, and it came up in 2 different ones. But when we do, it's a big jump from the Ace of Cups into the 9 of Cups, which 1 and 9 is 19, the Sun. That was the second bottom card after the tarot, after the Tower, which is the tarot. Thank you, cards. So then we get on to the last one, which is the mini the mini Rider-Waite tarot, of which I've heard called the teeny tiny. So what's the very last one? Well, no, I think we're going to go back to the middle one so that we start on the middle and end on the middle. And plus that means then that there's been 6 cards given, and 6 is the number of unconditional love, and it's the midpoint. Seeing as we're on the midpoint of the 9-9 portal, 6 is an upside down reversed mirror of 9, which then gives you the Cancer sign. We had the Chariot card, which was a Cancer, and that's the fulcrum, the middle point of the 3, the 6, the 9, the Tesla code. And the 3, the 6, the 9 are the spiritual numbers that give you that Fibonacci pattern, the spiral of the pine cone, of the sunflower seeds, of the, when you've got cucumbers or peas or ferns, they have that. A fern in Maori in New Zealand is called a koru, and it means new beginnings and freshness, and it's that spiral. So we will go back, start on the centre point, the heart if it's on the chakras, and we're going to end on that as well. So what's this last one though on the mini tarot going to give us? So we're in the micro, but we're not the micro. We just did the macro. The giant was the macro. Did the one turn? No. We tend to have to go to our left hand. Oh, there we go. Left hand, that was more present. So we've been given. So we'll start on it was the conscious we did that time, wasn't it? So the conscious one, is that the second time we got that one? Yeah. The last time it was on the conscious, wasn't it, of the giant macro. So on the giant macro we got this, and on the micro. So the macro and the micro. So it's, for us, that's saying that's definitely a very new, pure, French, innocent take on creativity, because we've managed to navigate ourselves through the wounded heart, Chiron, and the wounded child into our spiritual potential. And the conscious, the aware, top of the pack, heart of top pain no more, which is today's the 18th, which equals the 9th, plus September the 9th, which is 18, which equals 9, plus the 5. Right at the start, we talked about it, temperance, alchemizing the energies, alchemizing the seen and the unseen, alchemizing the internal world and the external world, alchemizing as above, so below as above, as within, as without, as without, as within. That constructive feedback loop of information in and out of the senses, out and in of the senses, balance. And the card that was given is the Knight of Swords, because the energy is speeding up. We're in the age of Aquarius. Aquarius is mental, it's wind, it's fast, it's tornadoes, water currents, air within the water currents, air within the body, oxygen. So it's all happening quickly, and if the energies around us are happening quickly, rather than getting on that boat and going quick with the energies so that it causes burnout and exhaustion, is however much on the end it's going fast, we go the other end. So for instance, if the energies are going really fast up on the macro, then we need to go really slow. If the energies are going really slow, then we need to go really fast, or some kind of ratio in between that. Which was the card given? Oh, that was the card given, wasn't it? Yeah. So, because the Temperance was the top and the Ace of Wands was the bottom. So then we're just going to do these cards again. We're going to keep out the High Priestess and the Moon. And what's the closing card, please? Pamela Colman Smith. Of your beautiful imagery, symbology, your connection to source energy, which has given millions and millions of people a tool of profound self-discovery, and a very subjective understanding of themselves, and therefore the universe and the cosmos around them, understanding that we are the microcosmos in each and every atom, the black hole, the centre of the atom, the vacuum equilibrium, zero balancing, the void, the darkness, where pure potential exists and pure creation stems from. I'm going to just shuffle with the left hand and not so quick. Slows us down. For us, the right hand's the past. We got a closing card. Yeah, thank you. No. So the spectrum of energies and the conscious scene aware this time. Upside down pack is the Ace of Swords. A new fresh beginning on the way we our processing model inside, the way we interpret language and see the world. Oh my God, this is just amazing. The subconscious, unaware spectrum of energies that we're dancing with is the zero, the Fool. So we've gone from the Fool to the World card, back down from the World card to the Fool, and now we're about to do a conscious Fool up the World and back again. And the card that was given was the Magician, so that we can alchemize those energies to serve our highest good, humanity's highest good, and Mother Gaia's highest good. Pamela, that was such an amazing reading. I think the energy's got too much for our cat Zendaya, and he's wanting out. He's not whined yet, he's only just gone to the window. So we're just gonna go backwards, do a bit of sage again. Thank you, Source Energy. Thank you, Pamela Colman Smith. You're an incredible, inspiring lady. And we welcome in frequencies that resonate in us with you, to have to experience our individual expression of consciousness and talent through poetry and music and art and baking and all things creative, balancing our left and right hemispheres. Oh, they smell amazing together, they really do. We got the only two things we got A's in at GCSE were maths and art, so we've had that balance between us, our left and right hemisphere of the brain. This is very good for our sleep dream healing programming. We've had a lot going on lately, so this will be a great thing to go to bed to. And last but not least, our harvested eucalyptus. We've harvested so much stuff, orange peel, lemon peel. We haven't harvested that, but we just did that off our own because it's really good for the bacteria, the gut biome. So you've got your probiotics, your Aphidophilosophus and all those ones. We can never say it or remember it. But then you need your prebiotics because they help diversify your bacteria, because the more bacteria there are, the more diverse, the healthier one is, the more stable and balanced one is. But you need to feed them to keep them alive, and that's the prebiotics. So orange peel, quinoa, chickpeas, maitake, mushrooms, all those fibrous and vegetable, stuff. There's heaps of it. And we've just printed off stuff to do fermentation of vegetables and stuff as well. And we've got our kombucha. So thank you, eucalyptus, for balancing the energies. And they're still burning. And we're so chuffed that we managed to do this because we were highly anxious, and we look forward to these frequencies absorbing into the body and grounding down. One that we like to use is imagining that if you haven't seen a picture of the nervous system, look at it. You've got the roots of a tree, but it's going through your body, and to imagine that nervous system and the red and the orange going down out of your feet, out of your every little hair follicle, down into the ground, through the different layers of the earth, through the mycobellum, mushroom network and tree network of under the ground, which is the communication through the ground, and the ley lines of Mother Gaia. So the ley lines of Mother Gaia and the earth grid networks is like her nervous system into the core, and then coming back up. No more. We're so aligned that everything that we say happens. So we're going to say coming back up and hitting your body again, and that's when we have a reaction like that, because each time we do that consciously, we have more of a grounding, and we have that effect. And then so we've brought those energies down right into the core car, we've brought them up, and then we're balancing in at the heart. So we're going to end with a few ohms again in our unique way. Again, Pamela Colman Smith. Sincerely hope you're resting in peace. I'm sure you are. Thank you again, appreciation. So, sighing and shaking it out and taking a few long, slow, deep breaths, and then a few ohms and a bit of sounding and a few ohms. So much appreciation and gratitude to you as well as Pamela Colman Smith, and to all of us for joining in with Shintosai, the Shinto's yoga experience with Shinto self-empowerment. Zanoni Snowflake. Namaste. 111, 101. Really can't finish it.